Welcome to our show. Welcome to Nightique. I'm Edward St. Pé. Well, tonight, we've got a great guest, I guess you say a legendary sportscaster who has been working in Jackson for so many years, and we've got a lot in common because we both came out of the Channel 3 group, which so many people in this market did. Channel 3 has been for so many years the de facto champion in local television. It goes way, way back. A long pedigree of people have come through there, and I've got Rob Jay with us for the show tonight. So we're going to talk to Rob Jay about his career, how he started. We're going to talk about television versus radio, and his new job here as the lead sportsman and manager at JSU TV, which is a recent development. So we're going to talk to him about all of that. So stay with us. This is Nightique here on JSU TV, Comcast 14.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Ingalls Shipbuilding is hiring electricians, structural welders, machinists, ship fitters, pipe fitters, and pipe welders in our Pascagoula, Mississippi site. Signing bonuses available for pipe welders only. Positions are union represented. Come build your career with Ingalls Shipbuilding. Go to www.huntingtoningalls.com/careers or call 888-935-1507.
Well, with us for tonight's show, Rob Jay. Rob, thank you for being
Thank you,
with
Ed.
us.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. So good to have you here on the
Thank
show
you, sir.
with us. Okay, now, you have been in television as a sportscaster for many, many years.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in sports?
Let's see. I've been in sports since 1990 when I started at Channel 16 doing the weekends. I was doing weekends at Channel 16 in 1990. I stayed there for a year. And when Michael Rubenstein left Channel 3, there was an opening, not for the sports director, just for the third person.
And I remember that because that's when he went on to the Love Broadcasting
That's
thing,
correct.
Mississippi Tonight. Or
That's right.
It was a statewide project.
That's right. And a lot of people thought I came to Channel 3 to take his place. I did not come to take his place. I came to be the third guy. There were two other guys, Clay Hall and Ed Fiddler. Those were the guys.
I remember those guys.
The late Ed Fiddler. And I was the third guy, and I came to LBT in August of '91.
And I had been there before that, and had
because when I was coming, you were leaving.
I was leaving because I was doing the Weather Vision project.
That's right.
And sort of going out on my own. So we kind of just crossed paths there. But you know, we were alumni of Channel 3, and you know,
right.
but the Channel 3 legacy is a very, very it's a deep broadcasting legacy, isn't it?
No doubt about it. I mean, you just think they just reeled out a lot of talented people. You know, I came behind, like I said, Clay Hall. He went on to Ohio, his home state. Mm-hmm. Ed Fiddler, he passed away, but he's from Alabama. And you got Howard, Maggie, they've been there a long time. Woody, Asaph, Bert Case,
right?
Who he's still in the business.
He's still in the business. And Mr. Woody Asaph is the one who taught me how to do weather back in the very beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
We had when I was there originally, Mr. Woody was the main guy, of course. He showed me how to. We had an old board that would go into the wall, metal, but we'd pull it out and put the sun on it and put the moon, the little magnetic sun. That's where it was back in those days. I mean, it was. So yeah, Mr. Woody trained me to do weather.
Man, I really miss him because when I got there, he was there. When I first started there was news, sports, and then weather, but they switched it, and they put weather before sports. Mm-hmm. And Woody hated distractions, Baloo would cough, and he would cough, and Woody hated that. So when it was time to wrap Woody up, you know, they would give you the rap sign, which is this.
Yeah.
And he would say, Rob, I don't know what they're doing that for. I ain't stopping. I'm like, okay, Woody. But that would cut into sports time, but I didn't care because he was funny.
Right. he was really something. And now that's a throwback to the old days of broadcasting, Mr. Woody. You know, for real, the old days of.
And people loved him.
And they loved him. In the old live broadcasting, you know.
And he wasn't a meteorologist.
Right. He was as the weather. The weatherman says.
He was the weatherman says, and that was a popular phrase, and people loved that.
Right.
I really miss him.
Back in the day, you know. People were multi-talented. They could do a talk show. I mean, they could do the weather. In other words, they were broadcasters.
And he did commercials too.
And he did commercials.
Yeah, he did commercials too.
Yeah, he really was something.
And he trained you.
He trained me. He was the one that.
So you owe all of this to Woody.
I owe my start to Mr. Woody, and you know, but also, you know, when you think back at Channel 3 in that time, back in those days, and like when I started in the early '80s. There was a whole lot of changes that had just gone on.
Right.
And so a lot of folks, you know, if I think of how I got started, it was of course Mr. Dilday was there back in those days, the manager, and Joyce Hughes was the human resources, and she did the kids show. She let me come on the kids show, become Cowboy Bill.
Yes.
And you know, and so it's still the memories are so fond from back in those days. Like it was like a family through the years, don't you think?
It was like that when I was there.
It's always been like
because
that.
Because they just allowed you, WOBT allowed you to do so many things, you know, and I took it to another level because I was doing football games for Jackson State, which I'm sure was something that they didn't appreciate, but they let me do it, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for all the things they allowed me to do. I continue to work in radio and do all these other things. And it was, like I said, it was just a family. Dan Modisette was, you know, such a great general manager, man. It was, and I understand he's retiring, but he was such a great general manager. He would come back there and he would, when he see me, he said, "Oh, you decided to come to work today." You just so he said, I read the newspaper. This is what he would tell me. I read the newspaper to find out what other job you've taken. So, but no, it was just a family, man. I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah. Now, the radio side, I mean, you have always been involved in radio. And what is that? Do you love radio?
I love radio from the time I worked at WJSU back in college. I just fell in love with radio. And they say that once you start doing radio, you never fall out of love with it.
Is that how you got into broadcasting, JSU radio?
JSU radio. So, I was in the hall clowning, in class. I was in the hallway clowning. And Howard Lett, the late Howard Lett, he was my instructor. He called me in his office. I was like, oh man, what have I done now? So he pulled some copy off this machine. At that time you had an AP wire. And he pulled some copy off. It was a sports copy. And he told me to read it. And I read the copy, and he said, hold on a minute. And he called Channel 16, and he said, I'm going to send this young man over here to apply for the sports job. And he said, I want you to go to Channel 16 and apply for this weekend sport. I said, where's that? I didn't know anything about a TV station. I didn't even know you can go to a TV station. So he told me to go to Channel 16 to apply for this weekend sports. They gave me an audition. I was terrible. I'm sitting there shaking. Reading the copy, the man hit the ball. I was terrible. So after I did it, that was my first taste of television. So after I did it, I knew I didn't get the job. So I looked to see who got it. And when I saw the person that had the job, I said, oh, I know I can do better than that. That's when I applied myself. And because I hated watching news. I hated it. I never watched the news. I started applying myself, and I started trying to get better. In Jackson State University, I started in the mass communication department. I got better and better and better at that. But I started working in radio, which led to a career in now.
That's a great story. And Howard Lett was another legendary newsman.
Howard Lett, man, I'll never forget him. And he had faith in me. He saw something in me that I didn't see, you know. And
that's a great story.
Yeah, and he told me to go and apply for that job, and he told me he felt that I could do it.
And eventually you went on there?
Eventually,
you got on.
I started working in radio. I was working at WJSU, well, as a student, you know, and I was doing all of these different shows, and I had a morning air shift, and I got a radio job at WOKJ Radio, which was on Lynch Street, so as I was a student, and I was working at the radio station, and I had a terrible shift, overnight shift. We had to play tapes, sermons all night long. But I didn't mind because I was happy. I was in the studio, I was happy. And then eventually I moved up to do an afternoon shift, and I moved to WKXI radio, and I've been there a long, long time.
So you're still doing radio?
Still doing radio, still doing radio. It's part-time, and I do a blues show on the weekends, Saturday mornings rather, and oldie show in the afternoon.
So you've come back full circle. You started on JSU radio, and now you're back at JSU.
That's correct.
And and I kind of feel the same way, because when I was at WLBT, when I first got on the air doing weather on weekends, the Jackson State meteorology program had just started up. It was brand new, and so I was at night at JSU in the meteorology program, and so things kind of are full circle, because now we're here, Weather Vision is here, and we're working with the broadcast, with the meteorology program.
I never thought that would happen. I never thought that would happen. That I would end up at
you would
Jackson
come
State.
back. Yeah.
I never thought it would happen.
It is. It's funny how life is.
Yeah.
And now we're working together. The morning show. Tell us about the morning show on JSU.
The morning show, we call it Metro Morning Live, with a young lady named Mara Mode. She's a graduate of Mississippi Valley State. I met her when I was shooting. I would shoot black college football games, and my beat, of course, was Jackson State, Alcorn, and Mississippi Valley. And when I would shoot games at Valley, I would see her on the sideline as a reporter, and she would ask me for advice and tips on how to shoot games and report. And I gave her some, and she said, "If you ever have an opening for me, just remember me." I said, "Okay." Never thought that this would happen. So when the Metro Morning Live newscast opened up on JSU TV, and she called me, and I said, "I may have something for you." So she came in for an audition. She looked great on camera. She did great, and I decided that that's the person that we wanted. And she's the morning anchor for the Metro Morning Live. I do the sports cast on it, and we kind of chit-chat a little bit. So it's just getting off the ground, kind of a little rough a little bit at the beginning, but it's going well. It's going well.
Yeah, and it's on Comcast on channel 14.
Yes.
Here in the metro area.
Yes.
So it's a brand new show.
From 7 until 8.
7 until 8 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a nice way to wake up in the morning.
It's a good show. Like I said, I do sports. She does the news portion. She does interviews, and you do weather. And we appreciate that.
Yeah,
we like that,
I'm jumping right in with the weather. Well, that's what we're here to do, weather. And we are working with the broadcast meteorology program, and they are coming in. And Wilbur Walters is coming in a day or two to do a segment on the new broadcast meteorology program at Jackson State. So if you're a young person out there and you're interested in becoming a TV weather person, not only can you get the science in the science department, but you can also learn how to do TV weather right here with us. And you get out and you get a job as a TV weatherman. So yeah, because we want to get that program going and cranking,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back with more of Rob Jay. So stay with us. This is Nightique here on JSU TV.
Let me look out this window.
Well, welcome back. We've got Rob Jay with us, and Rob Jay is here at JSU, involved with all aspects of the JSU TV station, including you're handling sports, of course, and so you are doing the broadcasts of the games, right?
The broadcast of the games, Jackson State football games. I did that a few years ago with Bob Carpenter, the late Bob Carpenter, and I was on the sidelines. That's how I started with that. He chose me to do the sidelines, and now after his passing, I moved into the booth with Willie Richardson, and we did the games. I didn't do the games for the last 3 years because of a conflict with the station, but I'm back now since I'm over here. I'm back now doing the games. And Spencer McClinty did the games for the last 3 years. I think he did a great job. He did a great job. And now I'm in the booth again with Willie Richardson. We're back. Willie, of course, played at Jackson State, played in the NFL, and he gets angry when Jackson State start falling behind in the game. You should hear it. I mean, it's hilarious. He starts throwing his headphones, and he throw, you know, and I'm like, man, calm down, man. You're getting too calmed up. Calm down. So it's a great broadcast. It really is. It really is.
So what are you thinking is going to happen this season? How are we doing out there?
No, we're doing good. We're doing good. The team, they lost a week ago to Prairie View. A lot of people are upset about that. But homecoming, Mississippi Valley, I think Jackson State will be okay. I think they're going to get it back on track when they play Valley.
Yeah,
I think
well, that
so.
would be a good time to get it on track right now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's homecoming, and the game kicks off at 2 o'clock. If you get there at 6 o'clock, you're going to miss it. But it kicks off at 2 o'clock. They play Valley. You know, this is the game where Jackson State will face their former coach.
Right.
He comes back to Jackson. So there's a lot of interest in that. And the starting quarterback at Jackson State, his brother is the starting quarterback in Mississippi Valley. So that adds to the rivalry.
Really does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good game. I think the tickets are going very, very fast.
That's good. Yeah, it's going to be a big game. Well, social media is a big part of, you know, communications these days, and this is something relatively new. You've been in broadcasting a long time, and so how do you see the merging of television and social media?
Unfortunately for some, social media is putting some of these people out of business. Like, I think the newspapers are kind of dwindling, because you can go to your phone in the morning and check what's going on in news. You don't really have to turn your television on, or you don't have to get a newspaper. You can you can go to Twitter and all of these other social devices. So it plays a big role in it.
It's fractionalizing the media, the television media.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
there's got to be a way. You would think, you know, for television going forward to survive and somehow maybe merge with the various social media networks out there.
Yeah, you know, in terms of gathering news, some people that get on social media, they just start putting stuff out there that's not true. So you still have to rely on a newscast or news people, because they check the facts on everything that they do. So
right.
a news station, newspaper, they still have correct information, whereas on social media, anybody can put stuff out there now. And you know how we were trained to shoot a camera, shoot the video. There's a certain way you have to shoot it, wide, medium, tight. But nowadays, anybody with a cell phone can shoot some video. I mean, like you saw with the guy with the elevator, football player in the elevator, that, you know, that video, or just any type of video now people can shoot, and boom, it's on the news. Whereas when we were coming up, that didn't happen. Right. You know.
Yeah, there's no journalism really involved.
No. Oh, no, not at all.
It's just out there.
Yeah.
What do you see as the future of television? You know, is it emerging of the social media networks? Well, I mean, where's television going? Is it going to survive as we know it?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't think television is going to go away, but it's already starting to merge with social media. You see now when you watch when you watch television, you see at the bottom of the screen what's being tweeted out, what's being broadcast on social media. They even use social media in reports, and I think it's merging already. Yeah, I do.
Through these years as a broadcaster, when you think back to the beginning of your career, who were your heroes? Did you have heroes that you wanted to emulate through the years?
I'll tell you who I really liked. I really liked Brian Gumbel. He did sports on NBC. He was like in the studio, and I liked him. And what was so amazing about that, I always grew up liking him. I thought he was sharp. I thought he was just, you know, I like his delivery. I like the way he analyzed and told his commentaries were great. But what happened was, when I graduated from Jackson State, he was a speaker. He was the graduation speaker. And as I walked to get my degree, and I shook his hand, I said, "Man, you're my hero." And he was like, "Oh my goodness." But yeah, I was happy to meet him. I was pumped up. You know, everybody else was like, "Man, who wants to see Brian Gumbel?" I was like, "I do, man." I was like, so I was pumped when he was the graduation speaker, man. But other ones I liked, play-by-play announcers. I mean, I guess I like some weird people. I like Marv Albert. I just like guys that are exciting, you know. So, and I met Marv Albert when I was with Ole Miss when they played in the NCAA tournament, and I met him. So,
wow.
Yeah, I
so
like those guys.
As far as Bryant Gumbel, I mean, when you met him, was he what you thought he would be, or was it?
It was just for a brief moment. It was a brief moment. And
yeah.
when I shook his hand and told him that he was my hero, he was cordial. He was really cool. I know people say he's this and he's that, but he was cool. I guess because it was graduation and we were college students. But yeah, he was cordial, man. I really, and I like his show, Real Sports, on HBO. That's my favorite show.
Well, you know, he was the anchor of the Today Show too for so long.
Yes.
So he was not only sports, but he was also news and and anchoring the whole show.
Yeah. Now, he tried play-by-play. He wasn't that good. He wasn't very good at that. Now his brother is really, really good at it. You know, and I tell you another guy that I really like. It was Dan Dierdorf. He was the analyst for for NFL football games, but he retired. I was like, oh no, he retired. I just watched the games to hear what he had to say, because I watch all of these games and to hear these play-by-play guys to get tips from them.
Yeah.
So I could get better at what I'm doing. And I thought he was really he could really describe what happened.
Young broadcasters out there, people who want to go into the business, they're young right now. What advice would you give them?
Get with somebody in the business now, locally, at any of the local stations. Call them, get their card, and just try to see if you can do some volunteer work with them. If you could go to some store, whatever store they go out on, and just be a shadow, you know, before you get into this business. I think you just and look at, if you're a young reporter, look at some of the stations. I look at all of the broadcasts. I look at all of the games that come on. I look at CNN and to see how these anchors go in and out of stories. So just a little things. I look at you to see how you get in and out of weather. You know, you can learn from everybody. Just learn from everybody. That's my advice. So
what is there a particular ingredient that goes into becoming a success in this business?
Just, you got to have confidence in yourself and listen. That's my main thing. Listen. Don't think you know everything. Don't go in it like you know everything. If I'm just getting into business and you see me, you tell me something, and I'm like, oh, I don't want it. Okay, you're gonna fail already. I mean, listen to somebody who's already in it and who's been in it. You know, I still listen to people that come give me advice, because I don't know everything about it. So if you're just getting into it, just learn how to do something and listen to the people that's been in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been in the business quite a while. You still have goals for your own career. What are your goals going forward? Right now, being here at Jackson State, I've kind of reached some of the goals that I was after. You know, being a general manager here at Jackson State TV and radio. I was thinking about on a national level, but I don't know if I want to deal with that right now, because, you know, I'm a little older now. I don't think I want to deal with that. I think I'm good. I'm good where I am. So you're happy? And what I really want to do, I want to get JSU TV off the ground. I mean, this show is fantastic. This is a fantastic show. I want to get this TV station off the ground. I want to get it where the majority of people in Mississippi can see it, and hopefully we can get, you know, like make it into like a TNT, you know, where it can be something like that on the cable where everybody can see it. Right. Yeah. And this show, you know, this is the starting point right here. This is it. You know, we've got nowhere to go but up with the JSU television project. You know, I mean, there's a lot of upside, you know. Right. And so it's good to be here with you, and I'm a fan of yours, you know, and I'm a fan of yours too. I'm appreciative to be here with you, and it's going to be a fun, you know, it's been fun journey. So far. It's been fun so far. It's going to be a fun journey going forward. Yes, yes, sir. So great. Yes, well, sir. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you, sir. And that is Mr. Rob Jay. From JSU TV, and of course from Channel 3 for many years, our guest tonight. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us, and we'll be right back after these important messages. Let me look out this window.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Ingalls Shipbuilding is hiring electricians, structural welders, machinists, ship fitters, pipe fitters, and pipe welders in our Pascagoula, Mississippi site. Signing bonuses available for pipe welders only. Positions are union represented. Come build your career with Ingalls Shipbuilding. Go to www.huntingtoningalls.com/careers or call 888-935-1507.
And before we go, you know, we cannot leave the set without asking Rob to do what he does on radio. Now, the character is called Pop.
That's correct.
Right? So,
Yes.
can we see Pop in action?
Okay, this is Pop.
Now, you know, when I first come down here from Tupelo, Mississippi, I come down here on 1 tank of gas. I was driving a tractor, see, and
Beautiful.
You got me nervous, Ed. You got me nervous.
That's good. That's my first time to hear Pop. Now, there's a rumor that Pop was going to have his own show.
He's going to have his own show. It's called Rob Jay and Pop at the Movies. And we'll be sitting there watching like a monster movie, and I'll be looking at the movie, you know, explaining like, Pop, you know, that movie, that lady right there, she was in a lot of movies.
that white woman don't need to fall down when she's running from the monster, boy.
So it's going to be something like that.
Oh, so we're going to be looking forward to that. That's coming up on JSU TV, one of the many new programs on JSU TV.
You're going to get me fired, man.
No, that was beautiful. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Rob Jay, thank you. See you tomorrow night on Nightique.
Let me look at the